Let's jump right into it with the newest stuff. This was early Monday morning as I'm catching up on my news before I can even get out of bed. The NFL competition committee at the owners meetings in Florida, Orlando, I believe, vote unanimously to ban the hip drop tackle from the NFL. This has been a major talking point for at least 6 months or so, which is ironic because I don't think I'd heard the term hip drop tackle until maybe halfway through the 2022 season. So something that's only been an issue for about a year and a half is banned on Monday morning. The competition committee doing everything it can to get that type of tackle out of the game. As you might expect, the takes are flying. And I mean, I get why, but as soon as the announcement comes down, you're seeing it from around the league. Former 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, J.J. Watt, says, let's just fast forward to when we've got belts with flags on them, just moving this to flag football. Current Miami Dolphin safety, Javon Holland, said something similar. Tackling is banned. Retired running back. Let's get the offensive perspective. Even a running back, Mike Davis, recently retired, says, as an offensive player, this is wild. LOL. Josh Metellus, Vikings safety, says the competition committee doesn't care about defense. They want to make it harder for us to succeed. Get one more opposing viewpoint. Retired all-pro guard Kyle Long with a string of tweets basically saying this is a good thing. Get dangerous tackles out of the game, reduces injuries, learn how to tackle better, basically. That's the data coming out of this is that the NFL reviewed tackles last year. They found roughly 250 instances of this swivel hip drop tackle. 20% of these tackles result in an injury. I saw the math that it averaged out to about one per game. So the takes are out there. Everybody's got an opinion. And I know this isn't spicy, but I guess we'll just see where this goes because I'm incredibly curious what this means. First of all, at some point it's wasted effort complaining because the rule just passed. The NFL's going to do this. They're going to try to legislate this tackle. So unless you're willing to stop watching, which no, not happening. I'll be watching. So let's adapt to this new normal where the NFL is going to try to legislate this. I do think let's go through what it is for starters. My good friend Jory Epstein in Orlando at the owners meetings talked to competition committee chair Rich McKay about what this means. Basically, they're going to ask refs to call this penalty in game, but only if you see these three aspects of grabbing an opponent to get control, then swivel him. I'm like pantomiming this. I don't know how well. Basically, swivel yourself behind him and use your weight to, quote, unweight him, basically dropping your weight to pull him down. In a lot of instances, you see guys' legs get tangled up under the tackler, which results in serious injury. The two that people are going to bring up, Logan Wilson's tackle of Ravens tight end Mark Andrews on Thursday Night Football last year, knocked him out for the second half of the season. And going back to the 2022-23 playoffs, Cowboys running back Tony Pollard got tackled this way, broke his fibula, sprained his ankle, really gnarly stuff. So they're trying to get rid of that. My only question is, how effectively are NFL refs going to be able to see this in the moment? How are you going to process all of that criteria? You see players do this a lot when they're tackling from behind. If you lose the angle on the ball carrier from the front, you typically do this to stop a guy as he's moving past you. Can the refs see all of this and legislate it quickly enough to make accurate calls? I do think one interesting thing we're hearing from Rich McKay and other NFL officials is that they might try to legislate this with fines, less so than tackles, which, look, I'm sorry, NFL players, I don't want you to lose money, but I prefer that. If you're sending out fines on Mondays and Tuesdays to try to correct this and guys can see it and work on it in practice that week and work on not doing it, I prefer that to a situation where these flags are getting thrown during 2-minute drills. Maybe you bring down a ball carrier this way as he's going for the first down marker. All of a sudden, the offense gets an extra 15 yards in a situation with less than 2 minutes to play. I understand that right there is what people are upset about. And I don't think there's a way to know right now how good or bad of a job the NFL is going to do of it until we see how this season goes. I do think there's potential for disaster, but if they focus on the teaching element of it, where they maybe send out a fine or maybe send out notice after the fact and keep the flags to a minimum, then maybe this is a little bit overblown. And yeah, if you can get those handful of tackles out of games, this might not be a bad thing. That is my measured take. I'm not going to say I have a ton of confidence. A lot of times when we see big rule changes like this, the first year is trial and error at best. I would guess that this is going to lead to some headaches. But like I said, the way they want to legislate it, I think will dictate just how much this aggravates players, fans, coaches during the season. So I'm going to try my best to give them the benefit of the doubt that they'll try to do this in a way that doesn't interfere with big time moments. But you know, right now that the first time a flag is thrown in a big time moment, it is going to dominate the sports take culture for at least a week or two. Because this is a hard thing to officiate. I mean, you talk about bang bang plays. This is the epitome of that. I don't know how NFL refs are going to judge the legality of tackles as they happen, especially in high stake moments. Good luck with that.